Hey, thank you for joining me. Hope you're doing well. Miguel Serrano was a journalist and author who is most noted for his esoteric works, which cannot be described as anything else but profound and otherworldly. Much of his work involved Hyperborean and Gnostic concepts that fused together in an intense blend of self-discovery and the unearthing of long-lost secrets. His book, Na's Book of Resurrection, is a masterpiece that reveals exactly, and I mean exactly, what I've been describing in my videos, that the center of our flat plane, where all compasses point to, the true North Pole, is where we find the entrance into Hyperborea, the long-lost paradise. This is what I call the Flat Earth Trinity: Sun, Black Sun, and Astral Light. These are the three expressions of the goddess energy that serve as the vehicle for creation on this plane. The sun above our heads sends our collective energetic vibrations into the center hole. The Black Sun takes these vibrations, our intents, and materializes them, giving way to the Astral Light. It's a repetitive loop. Please catch up on my videos if this is new to you. In the Na's Book of Resurrection, these three aspects are referred to as Sun of Gold, Black Sun, and Green Light. When the Earth's axis shifted, the Golden Age, the Garden of Avalon and the First Earth were lost. The seasons were introduced, time was born. But in the hollow interior Earth, in its double, in the secret cities of Agartha and Shambhala, the Golden Age has been preserved. In this interior Earth are the cities of Agartha, Shambhala, and the Caesars, inhabited by the immortal Siddhas. There, the Golden Age still exists. It is the invulnerable paradise which our people have rediscovered, where the science of resurrection and eternal love is guarded. The term Golden Age comes from Greek mythology, referring to the first sequence of 5 ages of man. It was a time without suffering, of complete bliss and harmony. Vedic scripture has a similar idea, showing history as cyclical, composed of yugas, with the Satya Yuga being the long-lost Golden Age. We are currently in the Kali Yuga, or Iron Age, but our compasses are pointing to a land where the Golden Age is still preserved. In the Golden Age, men lived for more than 1,000 years. They were closer to the point of origin, so that they remembered everything. In the Dark Age, the Iron Age, we have fallen so low. However, the cities of the immortals still lie hidden to help those who seek them with courage and who still possess the tiny spark. Throughout the book, there is reference to white gods, or white giants, that live in Hyperborea. The origins of this most ancient martial initiation are lost in the midst of time, and it is based on the Orphic cosmogony, which is a Hyperborean revelation, belonging solely to the polar divinities and semi-divinities, to the white gods who lived at both poles and were later submerged in the interior hollow earth. They are also the lords of the ray of green light, beyond the Sun of Gold and Black Sun. The Black Sun of Midnight doesn't shed its light outside the earth, but inside it. That is where the white gods, our guides, live. The green light that streams out from both poles is the dream of the Black Sun, as it longs for the ray of green light. The entrances to the interior Earth are to be found at the poles. Atlantis is an ancient advanced civilization, which was in many ways the starting point of the fall from our divine potential. Many suggest that the fall of Atlantis coincides with the fall of man. Plato tells us the story of the destruction of Atlantis. Only the divine Hyperboreans escaped from it in their Vimanas. The first Earth became the hollow interior Earth. When the divinities returned, ages later, they found everything changed, and entered the interior hollow Earth, where they built the cities of Agartha and Shambhala. Vimanas are sacred flying machines described in Sanskrit epics. They're kind of like the UFOs of ancient Sanskrit tales. I've speculated before that what we call the Tower of Babel is actually a representation of Mount Meru, the world mountain always shown at the center of ancient cosmology. The Tower of Babel is usually depicted as a spinning vortex-shaped tower, reaching up to the heavens and looks just like a Vimana. The name Babel comes from the Akkadian word Bab Elam, meaning gate of heaven or gate of God. Vimanas actually do look like much of the Mount Meru artwork, which also shows multiple levels and a similar cone shape to the Tower of Babel. So I'm proposing, based on this passage, that during the destruction of Atlantis, the Hyperboreans escaped not in actual flying saucers like the usual narrative, but through the center vortex located near Mount Meru, the Gate of God, the cosmic mountain at the true North Pole. There's often a bullseye or vortex shape underneath Mount Meru, telling us that near this mountain lies the very vortex I've been describing. In this Japanese version of Mount Meru, we see a wormhole shape, again suggesting Meru is a gateway to another dimension. O sun of gold that reflects the black light, O black sun that hides the ray of green light, withdraw your luminous shadow, rend your veils, so that I may see your hidden face, veiled by your disk, by the revolving of your swastika. This reference to the swastika is very telling. The true significance of the swastika has been undermined for hundreds of years. As I've said before, here's the truth. The Big Dipper constellation dances each year, forming a swastika. The center of this swastika, Polaris the North Star, sits directly above the North Pole, the entrance into Hyperborea. Swastikas, which have been in cultures throughout the world, have all along, unknowingly, been paying homage to the fact that below it sits the entrance into the Holy Grail of eternal life. The Grail is a jewel which fell from the crown of our guide, Lucifer, when it was broken in his battle in the heavens, when he was struck by the sword of his enemy. It is said that possibly he himself carried it to the North Pole, descending like a bright light, like a fiery disk. There he founded Ultima Thule, the capital of Hyperborea. The Thule Society is an ex-secret society based on the teachings of Ultima Thule, and their symbol was the swastika. Ultima Thule is defined as the northernmost region of the habitable world, as thought of by ancient geographers. Jean Mabire writes in the 1978 book Thule the Son of Hyperboreans Found, Thule is the end of the world, but it is also the purpose of life. Alas, he said, I feel an insatiable thirst. That is the thirst of the pilgrim, which can only be quenched by drinking from the chalice of green stone. Its liquor alone can sate our longing for eternal love. The Grail is the stone of light, he cried. It quenches our thirst. It multiplies our food. It feeds us internally, creating inside us the light that enables us to find the narrow passageways that lead us to the room where our beloved lies sleeping. The Holy Grail is a reference to the center of our plane. This is why in medieval artwork, the Grail is almost always at the center of a round, flat table. The Holy Grail was a chalice in which whoever drank from it would achieve everlasting life and miraculous powers. The word Grail is derived from the Latin cratalis, a derivative of the word crater. So the Holy Grail is not an actual chalice, but a holy crater at the center. The Spoils of Anwen is one of the first stories that eventually transformed into the common legend of the Grail. It's a Welsh poem in which King Arthur enters Anwen through the Island of the Strong Door in search of a magic cauldron. In Welsh mythology, Anwen is a paradise of the gods, described as a world of delights and eternal youth. Translated, Anwen means very deep, or underworld. So all along, the Holy Grail has been talking about the underworld, Anwen, paradise of the gods. What is inside is outside. Here everything is outside, and you must go towards it as if you were interiorizing it. Outside, there is also a castle, a round table of King Arthur, a Grail, a hidden subterranean city, a hollow earth. Your beloved awaits you, and a disk of light which will carry you to other constellations. There is a holy war to be fought. The warriors of our order must first seek all this outside, but with the intimate knowledge that they are seeking it inside. This passage tells us that this decoding of symbols and recognition of the center of our plane is indeed an external realization, but one that signifies an internal awakening. When we enter through the holy hole, we will be greeted by beings who await us, ready to be carried off to our divine destination. That destination may be Hyperborea, but we each may have our own journeys to embark on. We won't know until we get there. Blood over intent is the way we are preparing for this journey to the center. Because of this one-time declaration, me and my blood brethren are being metaphysically reconnected with the lands beneath. It's our spiritual currency. Those who are spilling their blood feel drawn to this journey, like a crashing wave that's hit them, because they're reconnecting with their divine essence, alchemically sealing their divine intent with their blood. In the book El Cordón Dorado, Serrano says, "In the liquor of the spiritual blood, the Aryans re-encountered the divine origin, their memory, allowing them to see their divine extraterrestrial ancestors from the first earth and the lost paradise. The blood, in a spiritual and hermetic sense, is the sacred liquor of Soma, something different to what biological and hematological science of the Kali Yuga teaches us. It is the liquid sun, through which the memory of our extraterrestrial ancestors circulates. It is the great remembrance." He says it right there. Our blood is the great remembrance. When we spill our blood over the words, "I intend to bring forth heaven on earth," we are infused with this great remembrance. We start to remember our origins, which lie in Hyperborea. No other light can compare with the light of the Grail. He who has foreseen it or dreamed it is lost to this world. If you want to know why blood over intent and this awakening to a mass exodus is happening, just read this passage again. We have foreseen the Grail, and now we're lost to this world because we know our divine destination. Our efforts will not end until we get our drink of everlasting life. This place we're traveling to is beyond ordinary description. They saw flowers made of precious metal, rivers of turquoise, gigantic animals of a race which had disappeared from the surface millions of years ago, and they all spoke an intelligible language: the flowers, the fruits, the animals, and the golden water, which invited them to drink it. In Na's Book of Resurrection, it's mentioned that those who understand its text will be initiated into Amor. In the initiation of Amor, which Na's Book of the Resurrection attempts to reveal with great fear and difficulty, I am going beyond the androgynous of the beginnings, in search of an absolute differentiation, the absolute personality. This miraculous Hyperborean initiation comes from a great distance, from the original polar continent. A is a prefix meaning absence of or without. Mor is a Latin suffix meaning death. So Amor means without death, immortality. It's been said that in the cult of Amor, the lady's body was regarded with the same wonder as the Grail. In some way, and not just metaphorically, the carnal form of woman was an epiphany of the sacred light. Our earth is a divine feminine force that has become materialized into a physical plane. This force springs from the black sun, what I call the womb of creation. Females are microcosms of these feminine generative abilities. A woman's womb and vagina is a stargate, a wormhole that leads a soul from the spirit realm to the womb, and then ultimately to this world. The vagina itself is the center of a vesica piscis. In the same vein, our flat earth has two dimensions laid on top of one another, the holy hole being the center of a vesica piscis, a portal into new realms. As above, so below. And this is why I quote, "In the cult of Amor, the lady's body was regarded with the same wonder as the Grail." The love talked and written about so much in novels, poetry, and magazines, the love of one's neighbor, the universal love of the churches, love of humanity, has nothing whatsoever to do with Amor, which aspires to overcome the human condition in order to reach the kingdom of the immortals, Ultima Thule. To overcome the human condition, which is asleep at the wheel and entangled in false constructs, me and my blood brethren are engaging in blood over intent. The reason this knowledge is being revealed right now is because more and more of us are spilling our blood, in turn receiving the great remembrance in order to reach the kingdom of the immortals. Hyperborea is beyond the control of any negative entities or beings who spiritually enslave humanity for their own spiritual gain. And Serrano backs this up in El Cordon Dorado. The members of the invisible government who control the most powerful nations in the exterior world are impotent before the powers of the inner earth. Those who do not spill their blood and come with us will surely die, as is the prescription of the Grim Reaper. This is a matter of everlasting life and our true divine destination. And I'll keep repeating it because I've done my research and understand 100% the significance of what I'm presenting. Replicate the videos you see and publish them on the internet, connecting your intent to the etheric plane. This work possesses all the defects needed to defeat time. I imagine that the ultimate solution is a leap into the void over the Sahasrara chakra from the peak of Mount Meru. Our Earth has chakras just like the human body. Mount Meru is the Earth's seventh or crown chakra, also called the Sahasrara. We have our own microcosmic Meru, our crown chakra, which I talked about in my video on the primordial womb. The sine wave of the ages shows the flow of archetypes throughout the eons. At the beginning of every eon, there is a journey made which transfers major archetypes from one earth chakra to another. We were just in the age of Pisces, which corresponds to the sixth chakra, and we are now entering the age of Aquarius, which corresponds to the seventh chakra. The crown chakra is the final point of the spiritual ascent, giving way to the kingdom of heaven, and this crown chakra on earth is Mount Meru. The Chinvat bridge is a term that comes from ancient Persian mythology. It's described as a bridge in which human souls meet their destiny. The Chinvat bridge is also called Al-Sirat, and it means bridge of the judge. It's often seen as a bridge that the dead go on after death, but I'm telling you this is inaccurate and a distortion of its true meaning. Persian mystics suggested the Chinvat bridge lies somewhere far in the north, and William Warren echoes this. The Chinvat bridge extends from the north pole of the heavens to the north pole of the earth. In Zoroastrian texts, the Chinvat bridge starts at the peak of the cosmic mountain High Hera, which is the Persian equivalent of Mount Meru. In the book The Geomantic Year, Richard Leviton writes, "The Chinvat bridge is the upward link from your crown chakra to the 8th chakra. The 8th chakra is where you may have a meeting with your own higher self, and that is the focus of a day on Chinvat bridge, meeting your better half in a dedicated higher dimensional sanctuary. The 8th chakra is where we have a meeting of our higher selves, and because of this, the 8th chakra is a portal, just like the Chinvat bridge is a portal. This is why the Nas Book of Resurrection contains drawings of the human chakras, with the 8th chakra showing a black hole, or a void. When we get to the center opening and cross the Chinvat bridge, we are transported to a land that resonates most deeply with our higher selves. And this journey, once we are transported at the center hole, is not only a physical one, but one that takes place spiritually. Our journey into the Earth's 8th chakra corresponds to our own 8th chakra, the void, a black hole that takes us back to our original higher selves in Hyperborea, the land of paradise. We must do everything in our power to drink from the Holy Grail, to join the initiation of Amor, and therefore achieve an existence filled with love, which is true everlasting life. Spill a few drops of your blood over the words, "I intend to bring forth heaven on earth." Upload it and be a part of the great remembrance. Me and everyone else relaying this information hold the spear of destiny. The fate of the world is in our hands. Those who do not spill their blood over their intent cannot possibly wake up to their true Hyperborean mission. Once we have stepped onto the road which leads to the city where the Grail is kept, it would be better never to have embarked on the enterprise than to abandon it. Even falling and getting up again, wounded, dying, we must go on until we find it. We must never turn back, because the Grail is the medicine, the food of eternal life. It is transfiguration. In 2 years' time, we will take a leap from Mount Meru and enter into Hyperborea, a land not bound by time. We will cross the Chinvat Bridge past the Flaming Sword, and drink from the Holy Grail of everlasting life. In the depths below, Hyperborea still exists, behind the yellow sun and the black sun, in the ray of green light. Thank you for watching. Please take care of yourselves. I love you all.